We are addressing this message to you, Frank Lucas, because, as active chairman of the House Committee on Agriculture, we believe that you have the influence to make positive changes regarding meat production in the U.S. Our goal is to campaign for healthier and safer meat production, and we believe that the committee's jurisdiction over the FDA is a powerful tool for change. As a fellow citizen of Oklahoma and a former student of Oklahoma State University, I hope you'll take a few minutes to hear us out.
Americans on average consume 8 ounces of meat every day, which is more than twice the global average. To keep up this habit, we have to process nearly 10 billion animals every year. Between the 1950s and 2000s, Americans' consumption of red meat has increased per capita 7 pounds, our consumption of poultry has increased 46 pounds, and our consumption of fish has increased 5 pounds. We currently have 7 different types of hormones that have been approved for use in the United States by the FDA. And we take these hormones and inject them into our cattle, even though we don't understand all of the side effects of using them. So then they stay in the cattle until we consume them, and they end up in our bodies. And while we don't fully understand all the side effects, we do know they could be linked to increased rates of colon, prostate, or breast cancer.
RBGH stands for recombinant bovine growth hormone, and it was approved in 1993 by the FDA despite opposition from scientists, farmers, and consumers such as myself and this lady. It's used to make the cows bigger, which in turn leads to increased profits for corporations. The Monsanto Corporation, which developed the hormone, performed the only test on rats, the results of which were never published. Am I a rat? In a sense, yes, because I and millions of my fellow Americans are consuming this product on a daily basis without being fully aware of its effects. Therefore, many of us doubt the validity or the safety of this hormone. It was never fully reviewed by the FDA. However, a Canadian health agency performed a test and found a number of significant issues which should have warranted follow-up by the FDA.
According to the CDC, 60,000 Americans die each year from antibiotic-resistant disease. And contrary to popular belief, most of our antibiotics aren't being used in the medical field, they're being used here in an actual field where we inject them into animals. And this non-therapeutic use of antibiotics meant to prevent disease and promote growth accounts for 80% of all antibiotic usage in the United States. And one of these antibiotics, gentamicin, is injected into baby chicks in order to prevent disease and death. However, we now know that it's toxic to kidneys and can damage your cochleas. So basically what we're doing with antibiotic overusage is making the bacteria resistant to all these antibiotics.
The European Union has banned the use of any synthetic hormones, restricted the use of naturally occurring hormones, and refuses to import any meat infused with them. This includes American meat. Estradiol, progesterone, and testosterone, 3 naturally occurring hormones, and zeranol, trimbolone acetate, and melangestrol acetate, 3 synthetic hormones, have all been banned by the EU, but are still in use in U.S. commercial production by 100% of U.S. feedlots that use hormones. This European ban is bad for American business.
After reviewing 17 scientific studies, the European Union Scientific Committee on Veterinary Measures Relating to Public Health questions whether hormone residues can lead to developmental issues such as colon, breast, or prostate cancer. And as you can see, the U.S. has higher rates of all of these. And while the facts don't prove anything in and of themselves, they do suggest that the FDA should look into this matter.
We're not entirely sure how the meat production system in the U.S. got so out of control. However, we don't place all of the blame on the corporations or on government policies. We recognize that the consumer's desire for a certain kind of cheap meats directly influences the policies and production practices of large corporations. For example, organic meat costs nearly twice as much as conventional meat. However, today's average consumer is largely unaware of where or how their meat is being produced. We believe that it's the government's responsibility to ensure that this production is being carried out in a way that is not harmful to citizens' health.
We believe the solution is to make our policies more like that of the European Union. They use a precautionary principle, which means they don't allow usage of any hormones that haven't been proven safe or have an undetermined risk. We would like for the FDA to consider adopting a similar policy.